Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome, come on in. Welcome to Lantern Writers Lab. I am NJ Sullivan.
And I'm Celosia Crane.
And we have a special guest with us today for the spooky season.
Ooh.
Ashley Greathouse is a horror author and paranormal investigator who has written a bunch of books, including Lily. And I'm trying to remember because of the way our setup is, I don't have notes in front of me.
Hen House.
Hen House,
Yep.
Lily, a book coming out next month that I cannot friggin' remember the name of. Okay. Hold. Nobody can hear you yet, Ashley. So, with no further gilding of the lily or spreading a dew all over the yard, please welcome Ashley Greathouse. And now everybody can see you at. Yay!
There we go.
Ashley's here. Our assassin friend.
Yes, I'm friendly. I'm a friendly
A
assassin
friendly assassin.
that writes unfriendly things.
Yes. I mean, it amazes people that I am as unfriendly as I am.
I think you're so friendly.
Because I write a lot of funny stuff. And then people meet me in person and I'm just like this grumpy old man.
Oh, see, I'm the polar opposite. They meet me in person and they're like, those thoughts come out of your head. And I'm like, they sure do.
You should hear the ones that don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, those ones are way worse.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they really are. So, we're here to talk about horror and spooky stuff, aren't we?
I know about that.
Yeah, you know way more about it than we do, I'm sure.
Definitely
Yeah.
way more than I do.
Maybe that one.
That
Just because
one's
we were
very
talking about
likely.
me. Yeah. That's okay though.
I'd just like to say for anybody who is new to the show, including Ashley, interestingly enough, the way we kind of work this is we're going to talk about horror and spooky stuff and writing. And if the audience has any questions, put them in chat and we will do our best to answer them. We may ask you guys questions, do your best to answer them. And we're here to support each other and to learn about different aspects of writing and different forms outside of novel writing and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That was a
I
lot to
love
say
it.
in one breath. Okay,
You did good.
thank you very much. Let's start out with and this is a common question that horror authors get. I know it is because I've heard them complain about it before. But
Oh no.
where did the kind of drive to create horror stories come from for you? Did you ever really look into that? Everybody thinks that there's going to be a traumatic story. Stephen King talks about how he would there were no traumatic events in his life. He just liked horror.
Oh, I have had lots of traumatic events happen in my life, actually, which I think is what inspires my story. So I'm kind of opposite, but I did not set out to write horror. I tried my hardest to write a fantasy story. That's what I love to read. That's like my favorite genre is just high fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was trying to do more of like a modernized fantasy, and then I don't know what happened, guys. People just started dying really bad ways too. And I was like, well, horror called me. It knocked on my door and said, you know what, honey?
It's
You
like-
know what, honey?
There's a classic story about the Ramones, who was one of my favorite bands, how they wanted to be a bubblegum pop band. And and every time they tried to write bubblegum pop songs, they ended up writing Ramones songs. Like everything they did ended up sounding like a Ramones song. They couldn't that's why they do a cover of Surfing Bird. Because that's this kind of stuff they wanted to play. They wanted to do that kind of surf rock thing. And they're four dudes from Queens, and they just ended up writing punk. They didn't even try. They were trying to not do that and ended up doing that. So I totally get that. And I get similar
Relatable.
stuff. I get similar stuff with I try to write hard sci-fi, these intense hard sci-fi stories. and I always end up being super snarky and making myself laugh while I'm writing them. And it's just like, well,
Oh,
shit, I guess that's what I sound like now.
Old Bob is a
sometimes,
perfect example.
Yeah, Old Bob is a perfect example. Old Bob was supposed to be a serious, like, adventure story, and it just ended up being about a mute robot who is really over his job. You know? I think
sometimes it happens.
so. What would you consider? I don't have a list of questions. This is all off the top of my head. So,
And I
Favorite
will
kind.
apologize right now for the amount of times I will yawn
yes,
because
she
I'm
has
already on
this.
number 3.
She has this
Oh,
weird thing when she gets on stream with me specifically,
Yeah,
where she just starts yawning,
it's psychosomatic or something.
or it's a clue that I'm boring. One of
No,
the two.
no. I yawn all the time too, so I feel you. I'm probably gonna yawn now. We're talking about Team Ring.
probably.
but but so what would you consider? How would you define horror? Like,
See, yeah, that's such an interesting question to me because I feel like a lot of people don't realize that they are actually a horror fan because horror is everywhere. Like, you have to have horror in so many different stories, your villains, the traumatic things that happen to characters in order for them to build the climax of the end and to have that happy ending. Like, it's a yin and a yang. You have to have the bad to have the good, right?
Yeah.
okay,
So to me,
I'm going to interrupt you for 1 second. We have a weird delay between your audio and your video.
oh no,
I'm not sure what from, but it's
it's
not
me.
just on the stream. It's also on the Discord call. So,
It's
um,
me. I repel technology, you guys. They
Harry Dresden style.
they didn't tell you.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Would you mind just turning off and turning on your camera real quick? It might reset it.
Yeah.
Just the camera.
Have you tried turning it off?
Have you
and
tried
turning
turning
it
it
back
off
on
and turning it
again?
back on again? Okay.
What about now?
Perfect. Yeah. I think it just glitched out.
Maybe.
But yeah, so it's interesting the things we get drawn to, like the types of writing that kind of come out of our personality, and it's like you can't really what?
Todd was commenting on volume levels.
Oh.
Oh. I'm soft. Okay, I'm soft. So our mics are a little quiet, is what I'm hearing. So I'm going to
We're gonna.
turn. Oh yeah. I'm going to turn us up a bit.
Okay.
Okay. So let us know if that's better. Yeah, we didn't do any audio tests.
No, we kind of jumped in head first,
Yeah.
like we usually do.
So, yeah, it's just like no matter what you do, once you get to a certain point in your writing career, like a certain level of experience, for lack of a better way to put it, like you have a tone in your work,
I agree.
and it's there whether you want it to be or not, and you can work with other tones,
Yeah.
but that one is always your first instinct is always going to be, that natural tone that you have.
Which is, I think, why I will never write a horror novel because that's not my natural tone.
Whereas, I've actually just finished a horror story.
That's so exciting.
It's 2 minutes long, and it took me 31 hours to record it.
Oh, see, that's one thing that always kills me when people are like, short stories aren't really stories. And it's, in my opinion, as someone who's wrote short stories and a novel, I feel like short stories are so much more difficult to write, to be able to fit everything that you would expect out of a story into.
You really have to have like economy of thought.
Yeah.
In a
Mine
short
always
story.
end up turning into novels.
Yeah.
Right, Todd? Todd has the same problem.
I wish that I had more of that problem. I really do. But I think children's books, I always get asked, like, as an author, what is the most difficult book I think would be to write? And children's book, hands down.
Yeah.
That has to be the most difficult.
Like, you know Connor Breeden, right? He's a
No.
Twitch friend. He's an Irish author, or a Twitter
I'm,
friend.
s-
He's an Irish
I'm
author.
bad with names. I probably do know him, but
You
I don't
probably
know
do.
him.
He writes children's books. He also writes non-children's books, and I just can't imagine the amount of work you have to do to write a book for kids.
Yeah.
That's
I think
crazy
he
to
has
me.
some help that he works with young kids.
Yeah, he's a teacher.
He's I want to
So-
say like first grade level in our school system, like around
Yeah.
that age group. But
Like 6, 7-year-olds,
yeah,
and
the really fun ones.
yeah. So yeah, there are, and you were saying about short stories. You know, part of the reason we do this show is so that we can give kind of support and attention to those forms. You've been in short story collections. I don't know if you've done one entirely your own.
Yes.
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 Um,
Yeah.
and-
Stories Told is my own mini
Okay.
anthology, and it's got 3 short stories in it.
Oh.
And they're all connected because I'm a weirdo like that.
they share a universe.
Yes, yes.
I try
They do.
so hard to not have that happen in my stories because I'm currently writing 2 sci-fi stories and 2 kind of supernatural stories,
Yeah.
and keeping them from bleeding into each other is really hard.
Even just in tone, like
Even just in
that
tone.
they sound like themselves.
And they don't end up
Yeah.
sounding like each other. So I'm not
Yeah.
basically just writing the same story twice.
Yeah.
Also, I'm going to pop some links for you into chat here. I have buttons for it.
He made buttons.
I made buttons. So your Amazon author page, your TikTok, and your Twitter.
Woohoo!
You do awesome TikToks, by the way.
Yes.
I show her your TikToks all the time.
I just created a TikTok account yesterday, so I'll probably follow you soon if I haven't already.
Oh, I will have to look for you.
She has a new character that she's playing on TikTok.
Yes, I created a NPC librarian.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like,
And so like the adventurer goes to the librarian before heading out on the quest to learn like important details about whatever they're going out to find, kind of concept.
yeah.
Oh, I'm hooked already.
It's doing really well on
Yeah,
TikTok, actually.
It kind of blew up on her.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to find them. I love those little like mini story type
Yeah.
TikToks.
There's one guy who does the tavern owner.
Quincy's Tavern.
Quincy's Tavern.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love him.
He's awesome.
He's kind of where I got the idea, actually.
Oh, he would. You should tag him in a video and tell him that he would love that.
He seems like the kind of guy who'd
I
appreciate
probably will.
Yes.
And Friday I do
think-
actually have Leshy on my list, so
it. In case you might not know this, Ashley, I don't know if the audience knows this, but Solosia is a folklorist. That's like
Love
what
that.
she does. She
So-
studies folklore.
yeah.
So
I love especially Eastern European because they just have the craziest creatures.
Yeah.
And the Leshy comes from, I want to say Slovakia, but it's like a tree spirit, and it's kind of morally neutral. It can be good, it can be bad, but I was gonna do one for it kind of around this time of the year because it felt like an appropriate one for Halloween, and I got my Headless Horseman one done, and I haven't gotten any more recorded yet.
Well, it takes time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. There's a lot of time that goes into content creating.
Yeah.
That's why I
Yeah.
just do chaos.
The Count said just followed. I'm guessing just followed Ashley because we didn't get a thing popping up saying you followed us on here.
Which is okay.
Follow everyone everywhere. Count.
Don't
All
follow
of
me,
them.
Count. I keep wooden stakes on hand.
Oh, is he a vampire?
I mean, he's the Count. Yes, followed Ashley. Okay.
Ooh, Count's probably my favorite vampire, for being honest.
The Count?
Yes.
Mine too.
Yeah.
Mine too.
He doesn't count. Oh, I assure you, he does.
counts. Yeah.
Yes. I love that meme. I love that meme so much.
My phone just made noises.
My Kiba dog's over here making noises. I hope he doesn't attack me again.
Your puppy?
No one can if he does.
We'll just
My
all be
dog
like,
has
"Oh,
that.
puppy!"
Yeah.
I know. I got him to help me with my anxiety, and then I just ended up getting a dog that has anxiety too. So we're just paying attention.
So you're connected at the hip.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Everywhere I go, there he
Yep.
is.
Sounds
He's
about right.
If he starts getting there before you start worrying about yourself,
Yeah.
you may be in the Matrix.
Oh, I kind of wish that we were in the Matrix, because then I feel like more stuff would make sense, you know?
Honestly.
Nobody designs this much chaos into a computer program.
Yeah.
Nope, not unless they're an author. That would make
That's
sense.
that's very. You know, there could be a story in that. That
Well, I
we're
think
actually living in an alternate universe that's being controlled by a writer's table.
well, kind of like the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy was like a little bit metaphorically
yeah.
in that direction.
Speaking of getting back to horror a little bit
Yeah.
here, The Matrix, I think, is a horror movie.
I will agree. See, that's what I was with your
Yeah.
first question when you said what like counts as horror to you. I think that it's anything that leaves you mildly disturbed. So
Yeah.
that's why there's so many different subgenres, like psychological horror, which is primarily what I write in, just because I can get away with a lot more stuff.
Yeah. And there's just like so much of like adventure storytelling, which is I tell a lot of adventure stories.
Yeah.
Oh, so much of that I would consider horror because
Yeah.
you know, you're putting a person in a terrifying situation and
Yeah.
they have to react to it realistically, which means they're going to be terrified. And you want the reader to feel that too, so you're creating fear. I turned my head to cough like my mic isn't attached to my shirt.
It's interesting, you know, thinking about it from that perspective. I'm thinking of, so one of the genres I do write in is high fantasy, and I am working on my first novel, and there's a bit that's fairly horrific that I am putting my character through.
Yeah, and there's, you know, I've never been one of those people who believes, oh, you know, you're a horror author, therefore the whole book is scary. Well, no, it doesn't make any sense. You know?
And I get that a lot. A lot of people will say, I can't read your work because I can't do scary, which I just kind of roll with that because you don't know what people's triggers are.
Right.
Yeah.
And especially with psychological horror, you're going to go through a lot of mental distress,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
That's part of it. So I do get behind that, but I always say I don't feel like my books are actually scary. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's
Like,
scary, but it's not scary.
yeah, there are certain, I mean, I don't think I could put my finger on like the difference, but there are certain horror that you're feeling like there are certain types of horror where you feel scared. And there are other types where you're scared for the character.
Right.
Yeah.
And it has a different effect. Like I can watch most horror movies without a problem. Like I'm fine with them.
I jump at like somebody doing something unexpected.
Yeah, she has a real issue with jump scares. Like just
Me too.
in general.
It's become like a standing joke. We can be watching something that's not really scary at all, and like
somebody
something
sticks their
unexpected.
head out of a door,
Yeah.
and she straight up in the air.
Yeah.
Vertical from seated in one motion. But I can handle Alien. I can handle the Nightmare on Elm Street movies. I'm dating myself here as to what the last time I watched a horror movie. You know, I can handle a lot of that kind of stuff.
See, and I can handle
I sat
it.
down to watch The Grudge in the movie theater and ended up like this the entire time. I could
Oh my
not
gosh.
watch that movie. And I walked out of the theater in the dark, looked under my car, opened my trunk, looked in my back seat. It terrified me. And then I had to drive an hour through the woods
Louisiana.
in Louisiana
Yeah.
through the swamp.
Oh yeah,
like
no,
I can. Sorry.
no, I was agreeing with you. We're probably gonna say the exact same thing.
I was gonna say I can handle stuff like I was able to watch like the first Blade movie, and you know, and if it has like supernatural elements to it, like the Underworld series, like I can handle that
Mhm.
kind. But
Mm-hmm.
like if it's, I struggled with The Village by M. Night Shyamalan.
Shyamalan?
Shyamalan, thank you. Like
M. Night Shmoo Shmoo.
only the part where she's in the woods and he's stalking her. Like I had to like close my closet door because it was standing open and there was a shadow, you know. I had a friend in high school take me to Blair Witch Project. I had no clue what I was going in to watch, none at all, and
Ooh.
that scared the shit out of me.
You would be my favorite person to like go to haunted houses or horror movies with, I think, just for like the reaction purpose. Because
I
I'm gonna jump too. We're gonna jump together. Like,
Yeah.
I would love to see like the security cam footage of the two of you trying to throw each other in front of each other. It would be great.
I I wouldn't sacrifice. Sometimes I get like really weird. Like when I get super anxious and paranoid, I just get really weird. Like we went to a haunted house once outside in the woods, what we were talking about,
Oh
woods,
yeah.
creeks.
Yeah.
And so I'm walking, but I'm so nervous that every single like scary person that would pop out and like get us, I literally was like, "Thank you." I said that to every single actor. I said,
Yeah.
"Thank you." That was
That's
my
hilarious. The last time I went to a haunted house, it was on the LSU campus. Because I was going to LSU at the time, Louisiana State University, and I knew most of the performers.
Oh, that's
They were
cool.
friends of mine, and they saw me coming, and they knew it was me. And the no touching rule does not apply if they know you. So
Nope, doesn't.
I had a girl I had hair at the time. I had a girl grab me by the hair, pull my head back, and tongue kiss me.
Oh,
Yeah, I was like, I didn't recognize her either.
Yeah.
That threw me. She was a friend of mine, and she did it because she wanted to get a reaction out of me. And
did she?
oh yeah, yeah,
I
totally.
mean,
I was 22 years old. Yes, um, but you know they were all like they'd walk up and they'd like bump me and scream in my face and stuff. And I had two female friends of mine with me, and
Oh,
they were like, "What is going on with this haunted house? What is going on?" Because
yeah,
we were just alone as a group.
is
just
this
the
a
three of
horror
you.
house or is this
Yeah.
a...
But I was actually like, you were talking about jump scares and stuff like that. I'm very curious because you write horror, because you know how it works. Do you like have trouble enjoying it? Because you kind of
No,
see
no.
behind the curtain.
I have a lot of, well, okay, maybe a little bit. I have a lot of trouble, and this, I was always this way. Like, I was just born like this. If I can guess what is going to happen next with anything, but especially with horror, if it's super predictable, I get so annoyed. I want to be wrong. I don't want to be
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I want to be shocked. And not necessarily in like the bloody guts kind of way. I am a little bit like played out on the whole get as gross as you can
Gore.
possibly get,
Yeah.
Yeah.
call it horror. Like, I don't know. That's just me, but I love that other people love that. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's
There
cool that there's a fan base for that.
there's a there is kind of a what's the word I'm looking for here? Almost like an exhaustion because there's been
Yeah,
so much like basically torture porn horror
Yeah.
yeah.
over the past decade, especially in
And
films.
and I want to be
Excuse me.
terrified. So yeah, when I'm seeing a horror movie or if I'm reading a horror book and it's just very predictable and you know what's going to happen next, you know that it's going to be gruesome, then I'm just kind of let down a little bit, which I am sure a lot of my readers feel about my work. So it's just the universe, man.
Yeah,
We
pretty
can't win them.
much. There was an interesting thing. We were at my day job, night job. Uh, one of the guys was showing us some spooky videos that he had found. And I have a background in digital art. Photoshop and video editing and that kind of stuff. And I'm watching this video. I'm watching these videos, and I'm just looking at them, going, "Oh, that was a wipe edit. That's all that was."
Yeah.
Or "Oh, this is how they did that. This is how they did that." And he said,
Well, and Corridors helped us a lot with that too.
Corridor Digital, they have a YouTube channel, and they are visual VFX artists.
Yeah.
And they kind of break down how things are done.
And they've done specific ones where they're supposedly like ghosts and UFOs and
they say, well, this is exactly how they did this.
Yeah.
And I'm watching these videos and I'm saying, well, yeah, there was one where there was a hand, like it was like a front door with glass in it, that kind of frosted glass.
Yeah.
And there was a hand banging on the glass. And the guy opens the door and there's nobody there. And he was like, I mean, that's the weirdest thing ever. I've never seen anything like that. I said, watch it again, watch it slow, watch the door. Because when he pulls the door open, it wipes across the camera entirely. And that's a match cut. It's an edit. He was like, and after 2 or 3 of these videos, he just looks at me and goes, "You're taking all the fun out of this, man."
No,
like,
but you're not.
Sorry.
See, like,
it's impressive. It's impressive, but it's fake.
I like it when it's done and they tell you up front, like, this is an edit, because that to me just is awesome. Like, get these people that are doing this at home, like, put them in the movie.
Give them a job.
Yeah, because they're killing it. But I hate when people do that stuff and then try to pass it off as real, because as a paranormal investigator, like,
it's a
who's
hoax.
gone on and I've went on investigations where nothing happened, and I will still upload the investigation but tell viewers right off the bat, like, sorry guys, I didn't catch anything, but if you did,
let me know.
Yeah.
I mean, whether I believe in it or not, if I can see the wires, I know it's a trick.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I'd rather have people, like you were saying, tell me up front, we made this spooky video. We designed this.
And I'll love it. Love it. I'll share
I will
the crap
appreciate
out
it.
of it.
It's like watching a horror movie. It's the same thing. I know going into it, like,
that this is a story.
This is a made up story.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Then I can appreciate it for being that and how well they executed it. If you tell me it's a true thing and I figure out that it's a hoax, then I'm going to be pissed off.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then in the whole entire, like, paranormal aspect, you lose a lot of faith in what people are doing out there, because is this actually for exploration purposes, or is it
for views? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, if I ever did a paranormal investigation, I'm not a big believer in it. I consider myself a bit of an agnostic. I have never seen anything that I couldn't explain. But that doesn't mean that things I can't explain don't exist.
Right.
Absence of evidence isn't evidence of absence. So
yeah, you would be perfect. You would be so good to go on an investigation with, just for that mindset alone, because I love people who are hardcore believers, but if every single crack, sound, smell, whatever is paranormal, then
then you didn't grow up in an old house, A.
She grew up in an 1800s farmhouse.
Yeah, our basement floor was bedrock. Like, it was the creepiest basement.
and like, I would love to do that. You should come out to Colorado.
We could
go up to the Stanley.
We could go up to the Stanley.
I want to so bad.
Take you up to Estes Park and let you go.
And everybody subscribe, get me to 1,000 so we can monetize, and then we'll travel everywhere.
Your audio just went a little wonky. Not sure why.
That's okay. I repel technology. Am I still wonky?
Yes. Mute your mic and unmute it.
Can you hear me now?
It somehow got worse. What the heck? The count says skeptics are the best people to take on investigations.
The count knows that. I love you, man. Love you, person.
Your audio is still weird. I wonder what's doing that.
It's the paranormal.
Is it?
They-
I'm thinking it actually might be on my end. Are you hearing her?
I'm hearing she's distorted for me too.
Okay,
Yeah.
because her level isn't dropping on the output. So
Do I sound like a robot?
no, you don't sound like a robot. You sound like don't forget that we can see you. Oh, I said this was going to be a great show,
Yes,
didn't
you
I?
did.
Huh? Oh, you can't see me, so that did nothing. But no, something's up with the audio. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hang up and then come back into the call
Okay.
and see if that corrects it. My guess is that it's something in the system. Because
It's me.
no, Discord does this kind of crap a lot. It's not just you. So
Shame to-
I will be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Say something out of curiosity, Ashley.
We were
You
not going
can
to be
hear
able to
me?
hear her.
Oh, true.
Okay, I've got you back in the call.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better. Much better.
My voice has returned.
Yes. It's still a little like, the term I would use is watery sounding. I'm not sure what's causing that.
Oh, that's interesting. We
Yeah.
were talking about the ring earlier. Oh, no,
We were talking about the Grudge, not the
We
Ring.
were talking about The Grudge.
missed that.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the audio.
Do you want me to try to unmute again? Let me do that. I have unmuted.
It's still doing. Why don't you leave the call and come back?
Okay, bye guys.
Goodbye.
Bye. We'll be
See
back.
you in a minute.
So funny because it didn't do this when it was just the
No,
three of us
we
chatting.
talked for an hour
Yeah.
and it was fine.
What about now?
Much better. Much better.
Back to normal.
Yep.
You just turn it off and you turn it back on again, and all the IT techs everywhere are like, "This
Yep.
is what we're telling you."
Do you know there is an actual technical term for turning it off and turning it back on again? It's called power cycling.
I've heard a lot of people say, "Have you tried power cycling
That's
before?"
what
And I'm
power-
like,
Yeah.
That's what power cycling is, turning it off and back on again. I used to be a maintenance technician in a factory, and we had to fill out reports anytime we fixed a piece of equipment. And quite often we fixed the piece of equipment by turning it off and turning it back on again. And we would list it in the report as power cycled 3 times and machine returned to normal.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I basically just turned it off and back on 3 times and it reset it.
I did not know that. And I
Yeah.
even wrote a story about a computer programmer. So shame on me for not knowing that. I
Yeah,
researched.
shame on you.
Shame. Really, all my research was just running to my husband and being like, "Does this sound like it would be legit?"
that
He
would
was
be
like,
how I would
"Yeah."
research as well.
That's pretty much how I research.
Either that or I'd get a hold of Vesa.
Yeah, get a hold of Vesa or one of our other computer geek friends. We like when I was writing my first novel. I'm not big on guns. I won't own one. I don't like handling them. You know, not a fan of them. My brother is a federal agent, or was. He's now retired.
Yeah.
And so I had my main character in my first 3 novels carries 2 revolvers. And he's basically a crack shot with both hands. And
Oh.
because he's also immortal and he's been doing it for 140 some odd years.
Practice.
And you practice.
Right.
Lots of practice. And I had to, like, I'm sitting here because I wanted him to block something with the barrel of the gun. Like, to use it as, like, a melee weapon.
Yeah.
And so I had to call my brother and be like, would this hurt the gun if you like blocked a baton with the barrel of Colt Peacemaker? And he goes, "Why do you need to know that?" I was
Reasons.
like, "It's for my book."
Yeah.
He goes, "Oh, yeah, no, it won't do anything to that gun. You could run over that gun with a car and it wouldn't do anything to that gun." I was like, "Okay,
I
good to
like
know.
how your I like how your brother's first thought was
Why
like,
do you need
do
to
I
know
need to
that?"
do I need to put you on a watch list?
um,
You don't know about the phone call from the NSA. The phone call that my brother got from the NSA.
Oh, were they not happy?
They were a little concerned that I was looking up what kind of security NSA facilities have and if killing somebody by asphyxiating them with nitrogen will leave any trace in an autopsy in 2 separate tabs on my computer for 2 different stories. And my cell phone rings at about 9 o'clock in the morning and it says, U.S. government. I answer it and I say, "Hello?" They say, "Is this Nick Sullivan?" I say, "Yes." They said, "Please hold for Agent Sullivan." And I'm on hold for about 30 seconds, and then my brother picks up the phone and doesn't even say hello, just goes, "What did you do?" Because the NSA called him to find out if there was anything they needed to know about me.
yeah,
Is your brother okay?
Yeah, exactly.
pretty much.
Exactly.
Is your
So,
I
brother a
love-
threat?
do we need to go visit? Because we were getting like the FBI showed up at our house once a year because my brother worked undercover and they wanted to make sure that nobody in the family was compromised. So they would
Aw.
show up and do a check once a year to keep us and him safe.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've dealt with more federal agents than most people.
Oh.
So there's
I
a little
have mad
personal story.
respect.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I have mad respect for federal agents, especially if we all get our own personal one. I think that mine deserves a vacation.
Yeah, no
And-
shit. This is a classic writer joke of "Hello NSA." Every time we search something for a book, we're like, "Oh man, you poor people."
I'm not a serial killer, I swear. I'm just an author.
Although with the rise of like true crime podcasts,
Yeah.
I think authors are kind of out of the hot seat for that kind of shit now. They're looking at middle-aged moms now a lot.
the women in the little sportsy vans.
Yeah, exactly.
What I
We
would
know
be if I didn't have children? If I did have
What-
children?
Yeah, what you'd be if you had children. Yeah.
I don't have children.
She doesn't have children.
No.
Neither do I. Worked out well.
I just have the one. Just the one. He's a teenager now. He's in high school. Holy crap.
man.
That's a scary moment. Yeah. No, I work with other people's children and then I give them back. It works
Oh,
well.
that's awesome. I love my kid, but I do love, when you're just like, here you go.
Yeah. I have wonderful uncle energy.
Yeah.
I'm good at being an uncle.
I have bad aunt energy. None of my siblings have kids yet, but they all know that I am going to be the bad aunt. Like,
You're going to
For
be
sure.
the whiskey aunt.
No,
oh yeah,
yeah.
100%.
I made the joke a while back about there needs to be an equivalent for guys of the wine aunt,
Yeah.
and it's the whiskey uncle.
Yes.
He always has enough money. He kind of shows up randomly. Nobody really knows what he does for a living. There's a year or two of his life that the family just doesn't talk about ever. And he's the one you call if you get into a bad spot at a party. And he won't tell your parents, but he absolutely will make you suffer for it.
Yes. 100%. I love that.
So I kind of joke with my brothers that I'm the whiskey uncle because I'm the one they know they can call who won't rat them out to their parents, but will show up with a baseball bat.
The double standards though, because I am not that mom. Like you see a lot of the parents that's like, we're best friends. No.
No, you're a parent.
You're a parent.
Yeah, no, we're
Yeah.
not best friends.
No. That's hard to be with a teenager.
Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah. So let's get back to talking about horror.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
The thing we're here to talk about.
I'm trying to think of. Do you have any questions, Celestia? You're the one who has absolutely no idea what horror is.
is there anything you want to ask me?
He asks me that and looks over at me, and my brain immediately goes completely blank.
Oh, yeah, mine does too a lot.
The Count says that's the truth. Moms love true crime stories.
We do.
Do you have like favorite tropes, or are tropes really a thing in horror, like they
Oh,
are
they're
in
one.
other genres?
Yes, yes, they are 100% a trope, or there are tropes. There's so many, just like in any other genre. I mean, first rule of horror is your characters, if they do the hanky-panky,
They die.
that's a rule, that's a trope, it's gotta happen.
You don't answer the phone. You don't answer the door.
You don't run upstairs.
Yeah.
Yes, if there's a group of people, you have to make them separate for some reason, just so the reader's like, why would you do that?
Scooby Doo
That's
rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's split
your
up.
with people. Yeah. No, there's a lot of tropes. There's more tropes that I hate than there's tropes that I love, if if that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
love-
Same.
Yeah, totally makes sense.
I hate them.
What's like your top 3 least favorite horror tropes?
So
If you
my
can-
least favorite, yeah, my least favorite trope as a consumer, as a reader or a watcher of this, is I hate when littles get hurt.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't like that,
Yeah.
and I don't like when animals get hurt. But that both of those happen a lot in my works.
Huh.
Weird how that happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't like it, but they do happen. And they're never just thrown out there with the purpose of being like, oh, this is
Yeah,
really
it's
gonna
not for shock value.
Yeah.
No, it's definitely part of the story. It's why things happen. But I did have a traumatic childhood, so obviously, like,
There's some of that.
children,
It
Yeah.
works its way in.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
projecting. I project a lot in my storytelling. That's definitely a thing that happens. So
I
I
think a
don't.
lot of
like
writers
people-
do.
I think so. I
Yeah.
think that's what makes this so much fun. I don't like that. I don't like when my least favorite trope, like the trope that I hate of all time, is when they take someone with a mental disorder and they make them the villain
Yeah.
of any type.
Yeah.
I hate that is played into when it
Mhm.
could be done and done so beautifully, and not because of the mental disorder.
Right.
Yeah.
That's just the easy route.
Well, and especially being somebody with schizophrenia. Like, I have autism. You have schizophrenia. Neither of us really ever gets good press. You know.
No, such bad press and such that we're, untrustworthy, things like that, just bad stigmas that do feed into our everyday life that makes
Yeah.
things hard.
Yeah.
Like, you feel like you
Yeah.
can't tell people, like, I have schizophrenia, you always get a bad reaction, or I have autism, you get like such a bad reaction, or
There's
you're
such a
lying.
stereotype about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So to make them the villain, I think is just such a bad person move. I
And
don't know.
I think it's kind of lazy too.
Oh yeah.
Oh, little.
You know, like, because it's
It's the
re-
easy route.
it's real easy
Yeah.
to blame it on mental illness. You know, and it's
It
just
is.
so many serial killers didn't suffer from any, clear mental illness. Obviously, they weren't well. But
Right.
most of them weren't schizophrenic
Right.
No.
or
No.
autistic or anything else. They were just insane.
Yeah.
Like in
Yes.
the classic sense. They didn't suffer from a specific mental illness that made them do that. There were
No,
other
they-
factors that turned them into that.
Exactly. So I hate that. And my third, to pick another trope that I don't like, is I don't like the final girl. I hate that everything comes down to, and I get why that was a big thing back in the day because it's like a whole woman empowerment type
Yeah.
situation. But I hate that it's always the final girl. I don't know. I just don't like that.
And that one's also used a lot and
Yeah.
still is used a lot.
It is.
So-
It does feed into the predictability of it all when you get listed all of these different characters and there's like 2 or 3 females. You know that one of them is going to walk away unscathed and be fine. I think the movie Shrooms, I loved how they played out the final girl scenario.
I don't
I
know.
won't,
I don't know
I
that
won't
movie.
ruin, I won't ruin it for anyone who
Okay.
has not seen that movie yet, so no spoilers, but you will, if you are like me and you hate final girls, you will love that movie.
There was a commercial years ago, and I don't remember what it was for, but it was the best like play on horror tropes. It's this group of like 20-something friends come running out of the woods and they're being chased by an axe-wielding maniac, and they come out and they're like at a farmhouse, and one of the guys goes, "Oh, we should go hide upstairs in the farmhouse. No, we should go hide behind all the axes or behind all the saws in the garage."
I remember this commercial.
And the blonde girl goes, "Why don't we just get in the running car?" And they're like, "No, we can't do that." And so they hide behind all the saws. And
The killer's just like,
the killer's just like, "Really? Really?" But yeah,
I always wanted to create a killer that didn't mean to be a killer. Like they tried to do the right, like they wanted to be the hero, but then just
ended up being the murderer. Yeah.
Yeah, they tried so hard, but that's kind of a spoof off of Dell and Tucker versus Evil, which is a horror movie, and I will argue with anyone on
I
that.
agree, it's a horror movie. It's more of a horror movie than Evil Dead or than Army of Darkness.
Oh, yeah.
Because Army of Darkness is more of a comedy than Dale and Tucker.
I love Army of Darkness, though.
Me too.
Do you guys want me to read you the story?
No, thank you. Don't read from the book. I just quoted a different movie, but I can say Klaatu Barada necktie. Nectarine.
There was...
Did the earth just quake?
Possibly.
No, there's a movie that is trying to, like...
Klaatu Barada necktie?
No, stop.
Okay.
Has Alan Tudyk in it.
Dale and Tucker.
I'm horrible with names.
What?
I'm horrible with names. Is that
Alan
Dale?
Tudyk, Wash from Firefly.
Okay. I do like Firefly. Why'd they cancel that? I know that that's not the purpose of this epised, but
Yeah, Tucker and Dale versus Evil.
That's the one she was talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, a friend of mine. We had a girls' weekend at her lake house, and we watched it, and it was hilarious.
it's so funny.
Because it was such. I love that they flipped all the tropes.
Yes, and that I want that to be another one of my answers for bad crappy tropes. Okay, guys, so I want you to know where I live. I live in a very small town in Indiana. Okay. So when we watch these movies like The Hills Have Eyes and stuff, and like you get these real redneck people, and then we're constantly painting them as serial killer cannibals. I just want you to know that Jimmy Joe makes the best mashed potatoes and mac and cheese casserole, and they're nice people.
I mean,
I grew up in a farming community that when I left over 10 years ago, the population was 1,140. So South Central Wisconsin. So very similar vibes.
Yeah.
I was born in a city. I grew up in the suburbs.
I was born in the city, but then I moved to a very small town. You guys can look it up. It's called Spraytown, Indiana. Spent most of my life there. There's probably not even 200 people that live there.
Oh, goodness.
My mom's hometown had, I think, 150 people in it last time I
Yeah.
was there.
We're
Yeah. My high school had more students in it than the town she grew up in had people in it.
Yeah.
So,
oh, that's awesome.
and it wasn't a big high school for where we lived.
I know, fortunately, I only have 10 more minutes with you guys.
Oh,
I'm so sorry.
no.
Oh, it went by really fast.
It really did go by
It
fast.
did. It did. I'm sorry that I'm
the
not
count,
scary and spooky.
the count said, "I too live in Indiana. Let's just say Children of the Corn takes on a new meaning."
Word. We have
I
a
went
lot of
I went to
fun.
college in northwestern Iowa, so I get that. Corn and pigs, that was pretty much everything out there.
I went to college in Louisiana.
Lucky.
Beer and rice.
You love both of those.
My parents' house, because my parents moved to Louisiana after I started going to school there, their house backed up onto sugarcane fields.
Aw.
Yeah. And every once in a while we'd go out and cut one of the stalks and just
Yeah. Just
chew
eat
on it. I
Mine would have been
realized
daily.
what?
I would have been out there daily.
Yeah.
Like they would have press charges on me. Like, man.
Ugh. Well,
But yeah,
thank
I
you very
know-
much for coming. You gotta
Yeah,
you
I
gotta
was
go do
gonna-
your other show
I was going to say, you
So-
have a
I-
book coming out soon?
next month. Yes.
Yes, Petals will drop next month. It's been over 2 years late, so sorry about that. But sometimes when you're an author, these things happen.
Yeah.
Just sometimes they're out of our control. I know a lot of readers are like, I won't touch a series unless it's finished. I totally respect that, but sometimes it is not always like our fault that the book didn't come out.
Yeah, I've been working on the sequel to The Man from Dark County since The Man from Dark County came out 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And I don't really think that it's anybody's fault when you get down to it, when you have when you work with people, editors, beta readers,
Yeah.
all of the different things that help strengthen our stories. We all have to remember that each one of those people are people. You know what I
and
mean?
have
Like things happen.
other priorities too. Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
life happens to us all. So what can you do?
I
But yes.
mean, I can think of a few things, but none of them can I say on Twitch.
But yeah, we just dropped all of Ashley's links in
Yes.
chat again if you want to check out any of her work.
And we are going to stay on for a little bit after you go off.
Yes.
And
And you should
do your
definitely
other
follow
show.
her on TikTok.
Yes,
If you
definitely.
You guys can follow all of them. Thank you so much for having
Thank you
me
so
on
much for
here.
coming.
Yes.
We want to have you back.
Yes, please.
Yes.
Anytime. anytime.
Yay.
I'm normally just nose deep in a laptop.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm nose deep in this massive computer in front of me most of the time anyway, so.
But you guys create gold. Oh my gosh. You guys need to check out all of their stuff.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I love you all.
Love you. Bye-bye.
Have fun on your other
Yep.
show.
Ashley went away. Poof.
But anyway, Bob says hi.
Bob says hi.
He's hungry.
Yes, he's always hungry.
He's always hungry. Bob may come with me tomorrow night for trick-or-treating.
Yeah,
Keep me company.
put Bob on the table.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're going to call it.
Yeah, I
It
think
was a
so.
good show.
It was. And next month, we are having another special guest.
We are having another
We got to
special
figure
guest.
out when exactly.
Yes, that's on you.
Yes, I know.
So.
But we will be announcing that special guest in our newsletter first. So
Yes.
if you are not on our newsletter,
There's the link.
there's the link. And we will see you guys again next week for sure.
Yeah, most likely.
Most likely.
You know, barring unforeseen circumstances.
Right.
We will be back next week, and it'll be a hostful episode. Just the two of us.
Yes, and I probably won't be a little black cat.
Probably not. Although anything is possible.
I mean, yeah.
Tomorrow is Halloween, after all.
Yes.
So, We hope you guys have a wonderful Halloween. Stay safe, stay
Yes.
spooky, have fun. And we are going to get going. So, from all of us in here to all of you out there, wherever you are, take care of yourselves.
Take care of each other.
And we'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.